also want to do this. I also want to do that. And you find yourself with 5 companies and 200 domain names. Hello, my dearest INFJ entrepreneurs. Welcome back to another video. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about shiny object syndrome. What is shiny object syndrome and how to overcome shiny object syndrome? Now, shiny object syndrome is basically when we are a multi-passionate person and we find ourselves running to the next opportunity, to the next opportunity, and to the next opportunity. And without really pursuing the first one, we are already on the next project and the next project. So it sounds a little bit like ADHD, but it's more like a difficulty in containing your excitement when you are seeing opportunities around you. And it's the challenge and the difficulty to focus on one thing at a time and stay in that until you master it, until you grow it into something, because you constantly feel like, okay, but I also want to do this. I also want to do that. And you find yourself with 5 companies and 200 domain names that every time a new idea pops into your head, you're already like buying the domain, you're so ready to go. So that is shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome is a very classic entrepreneur thing to do. So if you have this, you are a very normal, classic entrepreneur. And it doesn't matter how successful you are or how much money you're already making. There are people, again, very classic entrepreneur trait, that are just inspired by so many things at the same time that they don't even know where to go next, because there are just so many things that they can accomplish and they would want to accomplish. And I feel you guys a lot there, because I'm the same way. I'm running this community, the YouTube channel, obviously on the podcast. I'm running my own marketing podcast. I'm running my own, business. I'm dealing with my own clients, and I want to build a clothing company, right? And again, a lot of ideas come to me and I feel the impulse to act on them. But actually staying with something and putting the effort and energy to build it, I would say that those ideas dismantle really fast, really fast. Like, I do have the domain names, and sometimes that's all I do when it comes to an idea, is just I get the domain name. So I feel like it's out of my system. And I don't feel like, I haven't done anything about it. But I think the root cause is that you have this multi-passion and you have the excitement in certain degrees, and there is the other thing that is not the positivest thing, which if you have this, then you really need to watch it, is the enjoyment of building something new from the ground up and losing interest when it comes to the day-to-days, like the boring business stuff, and sticking with something until it grows into something sustainable. So it's not even about the ideas that you have so many, like for example on the first end is like, oh, I'm just so inspired by so many things. It's about, oh, okay, so I started this one thing and it's kind of like going, but I kind of get bored of it and I want to do this and I want to talk about this. So in that scenario, it's more a lack of focus and a lack of ability to stick with something, because you get bored of the execution and the building from ground up and the behind the scenes and building the website and like buying the domain. Like, that's the fun part. And when it comes to launching it and seeing it come to life, you are like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, whatever. And you just kind of drop off. So that's where I need you to guys make the distinction, because yes, you can be a multi-passionate person if the multi-passionate projects are actually, they're actually off the ground and there is a team there, it's functioning, it's moving. Versus when we are like, oh, I have this idea and that idea, and you kind of waste a lot of time into building those ideas, but really never start to make money out of them or start to monetize them. Or when it comes to really showing up for those ideas, you kind of like slacking off and you're on to the next idea. So both end of the scale, you can harness that in one end, or you can just completely get, you can just get lost in all these crazy ideas that you have each week. So because it's not a completely new stuff, like I see my entrepreneurs, especially if you are a creative entrepreneur, I see this happen. And I think as long as you can somewhat contain it, then it's okay. And I'm going to give you like a concrete example of one of my clients so that you guys can really understand what I'm trying to say here. So I have a client who has a shiny object syndrome, and it's very hard for us, like me and his CFO, to kind of keep him on the path, because there is always a new direction he wants to go. There is always a new exciting project that he is involved with. And I think he's involved with like 5 projects at this point, if not more. But our goal is to really help him stay on track so it's not fluctuating all over the place. And when we are doing that, it actually helps him to then stick with things, monetize his existing projects. And he's already been making over 7 figures from his main business. So because that business is already off the ground, and I'm the marketing director there, but because that business is already like off the ground, it's like easier to kind of his attention to deviate from it. But what we agreed on is that he can like feel his shiny object syndrome as so long as it's not threatening his main business. So we allow him to kind of update on the newest software, because his shiny object syndrome is not only on the project side, but it's also like the newest website builder or the newest project builder or the newest project management software or the newest email provider and the newest social media management software. So there is like I could tell like a passion around technology there and the newest technology. So we let him have his fun on the technology side, so long as it's not threatening his main business and so long as it's not threatening his main income source. So you can totally channel your shiny object and passion for technology, or I'm not sure what it is for you guys, so long as your main business is not being threatened. So if you have a business that was your main thing, and you manage to monetize it, I need you to stick with that and keep that growing. And as long as you can keep one business growing and monetizing it and really putting every of your effort to make some income for yourself, then I'm okay with you guys doing some side hustly things. That's the same for me. I am very safe and secure on my main business side. That is why I allow myself to do project like this community or do other projects with other people, so long as I can remain focused on my main business and not lose focus completely or not lose sight of my main business. I can allow myself to kind of deviate and to have my fun. My fun is not really softwares. It's, yes, there are some project ideas, but I never really, there are some things I never ever went further than the domain name, because by the time I realized it was just an impulse, and I don't actually feel like that's my deep calling to work more on that. Like I didn't feel like, okay, that's something that I really deeply feel called to do, or the people, like these are the type of people that I'm really called to serve. Like I didn't feel that deeply, so I kind of like let that go. And I had a project that was to create an app for nervous flyers, because I am a super nervous flyer. And I get the domain, and it's called alleviate, like alleviate. And I get the domain, and that's kind of how far I've gotten, because I'm like, okay, do I want to solve this problem? Like, do I actively want to solve it for people? Like, is there a solution there? Like, the deeper I've gotten with my research, and then I was flying less, and then I was kind of managing my own anxiety. So I kind of like managed to be like, okay, I'm quite good, to not take on this problem, even though I could take on. But I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is a problem what I want to take on. So, like I said, keep your main business to be a secure source of income for you. And then I allow you guys to deviate. But as long as that's not a secure thing, I would urge you to like try to channel your shiny object syndrome into things that are not harming your main business. It can be, for me, like I have passion for psychology, so I know that when I'm not working, I'm probably listening to a seminar, right? But it's not intervening with my productivity. It's not intervening with my main business. It's actually making it better, because the more I understand humans, the better I can help my business owners. So, like I said, like all those things are not intervening with my main stuff. So I think that's my advice on you guys. Like, have something that you build and that is making money, and grow that first into some kind of a secure business, and then you can get a team to help you run it. And then after that, start building something else and start pouring your energy into side projects until that's not done. I don't want you guys to like start many things and never follow through, because essentially that's going to be, you're going to be sitting with 5 businesses and you're going to find yourself to be like, okay, none of that makes money, so now what, right? So I don't want that to be the case for you guys. I hope this was helpful. If you're not a member of our community, come to join our INFJ entrepreneurs community. You have to be an INFJ, and you have to be an entrepreneur or someone who is about to open their businesses. This community is for these people. Again, I don't want any INFJ to just come there if you're not an entrepreneur, or if you're not, wanting to build your own business. This is solely for INFJ entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial INFJs, because I want to keep the community focused on our main stuff, which is entrepreneurship as an INFJ. Okay, so if that's you, then you can come and join our community. We meet every month for our virtual hangout. We'd love to have you there. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Don't forget, drive over fear, progress over perfection. I'll see you guys.